Every family has its battles, but the Bartlett-Flemings have faced storms that would break most people. Yet through heartbreak, loss, and change, they've held on to one thing stronger than any challenge: the bond of family. As Heartland returns, with season 19, that bond will be tested in ways we've never seen before. And the question remains, how much more can this family endure? The story of Heartland has always been about more than horses, more than a ranch, and more than the wide-open landscapes of Alberta. At its core, it has been a story about people, the Bartlett-Fleming family, finding a way to keep moving forward, even when the past tries to hold them back. From the very beginning, when Amy Fleming lost her mother in a tragic accident, we saw a young girl thrown into a world of responsibility and grief. Instead of breaking, Amy stepped up, discovering her gift with horses and carrying her mother's legacy into the future. That moment set the tone for the entire series. Heartland is about healing people, healing animals, and healing a family that has faced more than its share of pain. Jack Bartlett, the rock of the family, has been the backbone of Heartland Ranch since day one. He's weathered not only the changing times but also the struggles of raising two generations under his roof. Through Jack, fans have seen the importance of wisdom, tradition, and patience, even when life doesn't go the way you planned. His quiet strength has been a reminder that no matter how tough the storm, there's always a way through it. Lou Fleming, the older sister, brought her own challenges. Driven, ambitious, and always torn between her career and her family, Lou has been both a source of strength and conflict. Her choices haven't always been easy. Sometimes they've caused friction, but her love for her family has always been at the heart of everything she does. And then there's Tim Fleming, a father who was absent for so long, struggling to make amends for his past mistakes. His return to the family brought tension, but also a chance at redemption. Through Tim, the show has shown us how complicated forgiveness can be, but also how powerful it is when a family decides to give second chances. Over the seasons, we've watched love stories bloom and fall apart. We've seen tragedies that shook the very foundation of the ranch, and we've seen triumphs that reminded us why Heartland is a place of hope. Horses have always been at the center, representing freedom, healing, and connection, but the real story has been about the people who ride them, train them, and love them. The Bartlett-Fleming family has proven time and again that no matter what life throws their way, whether it's financial struggles, personal heartbreak, or the constant pull between tradition and progress, they always find a way to hold on. That strength is what makes Heartland resonate so deeply with viewers around the world. It isn't just a TV show, it's a reflection of the challenges we all face in our own families, our own lives, and our own hearts. As we head into season 19, the history of this family matters more than ever. The past isn't just behind them, it shapes every choice they make, every fight they have, and every bond they rebuild. To understand the challenges they're about to face, we have to remember how far they've already come. And that journey is what makes the next chapter so powerful. The Bartlett-Fleming family has carried the weight of their past into every chapter of Heartland's story. But in season 19, the challenges grow heavier, and the questions they face are no longer about surviving the present, they're about shaping the future. Each member of the family stands at a crossroads, and the choices they make will ripple through the ranch and beyond. For Amy Fleming, the gifted horse whisperer who has always carried the heart of Heartland on her shoulders, the struggle feels deeply personal. She is no longer just a horse trainer, she's a mother, a teacher, and the guardian of a legacy. The ranch has always asked much of her, but now, the demands of motherhood compete with her calling. Can Amy continue to heal broken horses while also guiding her daughter, Lyndy, into a world that feels increasingly uncertain? The balance between her career and her family life is becoming more fragile than ever. Jack Bartlett, the patriarch and symbol of unshakable strength, finds himself confronting a reality he has always pushed aside. Time. The ranch has always been his home, his purpose, and his pride, but the years weigh heavy now. Jack has faced loss, hardship, and endless responsibilities, But season 19 forces him to ask a painful question: what happens when he is no longer there to hold the family together? For Jack, it isn't just about letting go, it's about trusting that the younger generation can carry the torch without losing what makes Heartland sacred. Lou Fleming, with her ambition and constant push for progress, is caught between two worlds. On one side is her family and the values of the ranch. On the other is her political role, which demands compromise, sacrifice, and sometimes decisions that clash with Heartland's traditions. Lou has always believed she could handle it all, but in season 19, her worlds collide in ways that force her to question whether she's fighting for her family or against them. The balance she's tried so hard to maintain begins to crumble. Tim Fleming's path remains the most complicated. A father haunted by his absence and a man desperate to prove he has changed, Tim continues to battle with his past mistakes. Season 19 brings new tests for him, moments where his loyalty to his family collides with the ghosts of his past. Tim has always been a fighter, but redemption isn't won in a single season. It's a journey. And the question remains: how far is he willing to go to prove he belongs with the family that once doubted him? And then there is the younger generation. Katie, growing into her teenage years, and Lyndy, who represents the future of the ranch, are no longer just children in the background. They are voices of a new era, carrying fresh dreams, new questions, and their own challenges. They represent both hope and uncertainty for Heartland. Will they embrace the weight of the legacy handed down to them, or will they chart their own paths away from the ranch? The conflicts of season 19 are not just personal struggles, they are reflections of something larger: the inevitable shift from one generation to the next. The Bartlett-Fleming family has always thrived on unity, but the cracks are beginning to show. Can they adapt to the demands of the modern world while preserving the values that have carried them this far? Or will the future demand sacrifices too painful to bear? Every smile hides a worry, every triumph masks a fear. And as season 19 unfolds, it becomes clear that this family is standing on the edge of change. For the Bartlett-Flemings, the question isn't just whether they can face the challenges ahead, it's whether they can face them together. Every season of Heartland has carried a heartbeat, a rhythm that guides the story forward. But in season 19, that heartbeat feels different. It's steadier, heavier, almost echoing with the weight of time. The themes this season are not just about the struggles of one family, but about the universal battles we all face: holding on to the past, embracing the future, and learning that love is both an anchor and a storm. The first theme that rises above the rest is generational change. The Bartlett-Fleming family is no longer defined only by Jack's wisdom or Amy's gift. Instead, it's about the younger voices stepping forward. Katie, once a child running around the ranch, now faces the confusing crossroads of growing up. Lyndy, bright-eyed and innocent, is beginning to learn what it means to carry her mother's legacy. Season 19 is not just about survival, it's about passing the torch, and the fear that comes with letting go. But change does not come without resistance, and that leads us to the next theme: the clash between tradition and progress. Heartland Ranch has always stood as a symbol of old values: hard work, honesty, and the quiet strength of the land itself. Yet the world outside is shifting. New technologies, political pressures, and economic realities creep into every corner of life. Lou finds herself caught in that storm, pushing for modernization while others cling to the comfort of what has always been. Season 19 asks a haunting question: what happens when holding onto the past risks the future? Another theme woven deeply into this season is healing versus breaking. For years, Heartland has been a place of healing for horses, for people, for relationships fractured by mistakes. But healing takes energy, patience, and time. And what happens when the healer, Amy herself, feels stretched too thin? Can she continue to mend the broken around her when she struggles to balance her own life? Season 19 forces the family and the audience to realize that sometimes even the strongest need to be saved. And then there is the theme of endurance, not just of the ranch, but of the people who love it. Jack's story in season 19 is not just about age, it's about the fragility of time. For so long, he has been the unshakable rock, the voice of reason, the keeper of tradition. But now, he must face the truth that no rock lasts forever. His endurance is tested not by the work of the ranch, but by the thought of leaving it behind. His arc this season becomes a reminder that every legacy is borrowed, never owned. Finally, there is the theme of family unity versus personal dreams. For the Bartlett-Flemings, family has always come first. But what happens when individual desires begin to pull in opposite directions? Lou's career demands, Tim's restless search for redemption, Amy's devotion to horses, and the younger generation's hunger for independence, all of these threads create tension. Every season of Heartland has tested the Bartlett-Flemings in ways that make us wonder how much one family can endure. But season 19 is different. The challenges are not only bigger, they cut deeper, threatening the very heart of what keeps this family together. These are not simple storylines. They are storms that demand sacrifice, courage, and choices that could change Heartland forever. The first challenge comes in the form of financial strain. Heartland Ranch, once steady and secure, now feels fragile. The cost of keeping horses, maintaining land, and surviving in a changing economy weighs heavily. Jack has always been the rock that kept things grounded, but as the bills rise and the pressure builds, the family begins to question how much longer they can hold on. Should they modernize? Should they expand? Or does protecting tradition mean risking everything? Season 19 does not offer easy answers, only difficult choices that test loyalty to the ranch itself. But money is not the only battle. There are community disputes that threaten the peace Heartland has always represented. New neighbors, new businesses, and outsiders with different visions clash with the ranch's values. Lou, standing between her political role and her family's legacy, finds herself pulled in two directions. Can she serve the community without betraying the ranch that built her? Or will she find herself on the opposite side of her own family, defending decisions they cannot forgive? Then comes the weight of unexpected tragedies, moments that strike without warning. A health scare that forces Jack to confront his own mortality. A near accident that shakes Amy's confidence, not just in herself but in the choices she has made. These moments remind us that no family, no matter how strong, is immune to the sudden storms of life. In season 19, tragedy is not used to break the family but to reveal how fragile even the strongest bonds can be, and perhaps the hardest challenge of all lies within the family itself: emotional rifts. Love and loyalty have always been the threads that stitched the Bartlett-Flemings together. But in season 19, those threads begin to fray. Arguments over money, over choices, over the future. These aren't just disagreements. They are wounds that run deep, threatening to divide the family into pieces. Tim's search for redemption collides with Jack's desire for stability. Lou's political responsibilities clash with Amy's need for simplicity. Even the younger generation begins to voice dreams that pull them away from the ranch. The question is no longer if they will argue, but whether their love can survive the storms of pride and fear. Yet through all of this, one truth remains: every challenge is also an opportunity. The financial struggles could push the family toward innovation. The community disputes could remind them of the importance of unity. The tragedies could teach them to cherish every moment. And the emotional rifts, though painful, could lead to forgiveness that makes their bond even stronger. Season 19 places the Bartlett-Fleming family in a crucible. It burns away the easy choices and leaves only the hardest truths. To survive, they must face not just the world outside, but the shadows within themselves. And as each challenge rises, so does the question that has defined Heartland from the very beginning. When the storm comes, will the family hold together or finally break apart? Every story is built on moments, those brief flashes where silence says more than words, where a glance carries the weight of 1,000 fears, and where a single choice can change everything. In season 19 of Heartland, those moments rise to the surface like never before. The emotional beats aren't just side notes in the story, they are the story. Picture Amy, standing alone in the barn at night. The horses around her breathe steady and calm, yet her own chest feels heavy. She has healed so many animals, brought peace to so many riders, but in this moment, her eyes reveal the truth. She isn't sure she can keep healing everyone else while her own heart aches. That quiet tear, hidden from her family, becomes one of the most powerful beats of the season because it shows us that even the strongest shoulders can bend under the weight of love and responsibility. Then there is Jack, the rock, the unshakable soul of Heartland. For nearly 2 decades, fans have trusted his steady voice and timeless wisdom. But season 19 dares to show us a side of Jack that few expect: vulnerability. A health scare, a sudden reminder of his age, forces him to sit down in silence and stare at the land he has fought to protect. His eyes are not filled with fear of dying, but with fear of leaving his family unprepared. The emotional beat here is not in the words he speaks, it is in the pause before he says anything at all. Lou's emotional journey is marked not by grand gestures, but by the cracks in her confidence. We see her smiling at a community event, her voice steady as she speaks about leadership and progress. But later, when she returns home and closes the door, that smile vanishes. She sinks into a chair, burying her face in her hands. It is in that private collapse that we see her true struggle, the constant battle between public strength and private exhaustion. These beats remind us that even leaders can break when no one is watching. Tim's emotional beats come from the shadows of his past. A sudden encounter, a word spoken in anger, or a reminder of the time he lost with his children. All of these moments weigh heavily. But the most powerful beat is when he chooses not to walk away. In a heated argument, he stays. His voice shakes, his eyes burn, but he refuses to abandon the family again. The emotion is not in what he says, it is in the choice to stay rooted, proving that love can overcome even the deepest regrets. And then there are the younger voices, Katie and Lyndy. Their emotional beats are quieter, but no less powerful. A first step into responsibility, a first challenge that cannot be solved by running to the adults. These moments show us the future, filled with both uncertainty and hope. Their laughter, their questions, even their frustrations all carry the promise that Heartland's story will continue long after this generation passes the torch. The beauty of these emotional beats is that they do not shout. They whisper. They creep into the silence, into the pauses between words, into the moments where the screen fades but the feeling lingers. They remind us that Heartland has never been about spectacle, it has always been about truth. And so, season 19 delivers emotion not in sweeping gestures, but in the smallest of details. A hand on a shoulder, a quiet sigh in the dark, a tear wiped away before anyone can see. These are the beats that break us, heal us, and bind us to the Bartlett-Fleming family, because in the end, it is not the challenges alone that define this season, it is how those challenges make us feel. And the feelings, once ignited, will stay with us long after the credits roll. Every story has a moment when the air feels heavy, when the silence before the storm is louder than thunder itself. In season 19 of Heartland, that moment builds slowly, tightening with every choice, every argument, every secret left unspoken. The Bartlett-Fleming family has faced storms before, but this one feels different. This one feels final, as if the ground beneath Heartland Ranch itself is shifting. The tension begins with Jack. For so long, he has been the mountain no one believed could move. But in season 19, even mountains can crack. His health becomes a shadow over every scene, unspoken, yet unavoidable. When Jack falters even for a second, the family feels the tremor, and in that tremor lies the question that none of them dare voice aloud. What happens to Heartland when Jack is gone? The weight of that question lingers like thunder on the horizon. Amy's storm comes not from outside, but within. She has always been the healer, the one who mends what is broken, whether horse or human. But in season 19, she faces a wound she may not know how to heal: herself. The pull between her love for horses and her duty as a mother grows stronger, pulling her in opposite directions. And in those quiet, desperate moments, we wonder, will Amy's gift become her greatest burden? Or will it be the key to saving her family's spirit once again? Lou's world unravels in the clash between her career and her blood. As mayor, she is forced to make decisions that ripple beyond politics, seeping into the ranch itself. Every choice becomes a knife, cutting either her community or her family. The climactic tension for Lou is not in what she chooses, it is in who she risks losing. And as she stands at that crossroads, she must ask herself if progress is worth the price of breaking the people she loves most. Tim's arc builds like fire, unpredictable, fierce, and dangerous. He has tried to outrun his past, but the past has long legs. Season 19 corners him, forcing him to face consequences he thought he had buried. The build-up here is not about whether Tim can win, but whether he can stand his ground without burning the bridges he fought so hard to rebuild. His fire threatens to scorch everyone around him, unless he learns to control it. Even the younger generation feels the storm. Katie, standing on the edge of adulthood, questions whether the ranch is her home or a chain. Lyndy, still young but already carrying her mother's light, feels the pressure of expectations she cannot yet understand. Their voices, once soft in the background, now rise into the foreground. The future is no longer far away, it is here, demanding to be heard. The climactic build of season 19 is not about one single tragedy or one single fight. It is about the slow tightening of threads that hold the family together. Every argument pulls one string looser. Every silence makes the gap wider. Every storm cloud above